right, everybody, welcome to the newest episode of the Patriots Only Please podcast. Now, you might be noticing something different here. Mr. Soley and I are coming to you remotely. Why is that, you ask? Well, because sometimes schedules being what we're very busy, very important people. So, we have things that we do. Sometimes we can't be hanging out on Soley's couch, right?
It's
So,
true. It's true.
what I love about your setup, Mike, right now is that you've got this microphone that's changing color. I can see it's
It is.
blue, pink. At least it looks blue and pink to me.
It's a
So
mood ring USB podcast microphone.
it's like a lava lamp. So the handful of people that are paying attention to us,
Hey,
will hopefully, forgive the technical. But hey, this is a great example of improvising, and we are finding,
improvising.
we're finding a way to make it work,
Yeah,
triumphing in the face of adversity. Although this is pretty cool. So
this is
anyway,
pretty cool, man.
yeah, yeah. So, and it's great to talk with you virtually, and we can do
Yes.
this again and again. So today we were kind of talking a little earlier before we started the recording, about how, we like to say we want to unite the right, which
Mhm.
is kind of our calling card. But what does that really mean? And I have noticed, maybe you've noticed as well, that, and look, rightfully so, there's some skepticism on among our side because,
Yeah.
there's a lot of kind of nefarious activity going on. Some are paid actors, some are this, some are that. So, look, trust has to be earned. Obviously, I get that.
Sure.
So, but it is very important that at least those of us on our side, there is a larger mission and there is a goal, particularly in November, and we have to make sure that we are not going at it like this. So, with all of that being said, I will give you the floor. Take it away and give me your 2 cents on this.
I like everything that you said. It's we're in uncharted waters as conservatives, as lovers of freedom. Our president, our former president, literally the Democrats have taken away his liberty and his ability to speak. I mean, they're literally stopping him from campaigning. They're keeping him locked in a courtroom in New York. I mean, they're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this guy. And I think that everyone can see that. I think people on the left can feel that it's inauthentic, that it's political, that it's, by the way, all Democrats in Democratic places. They're stacking the deck. Whatever happened in 2020 in terms of the election and election fraud and election rigging and harvesting and all that stuff, which has been pretty well documented now in a lot of counties and a lot of places. But putting that aside, now we see that it's complete bullshit. This is absolutely 100% bullshit. I posted a meme today or yesterday. It said, here's a guy that made it 77 years on this planet with no felony accusations, and now he's got
Charges,
91 of
convictions,
them.
yeah. Mhm.
91. Like, really? While he was the president, he was breaking federal. I mean, it's such nonsense. And then, Biden has slipped along the way and said, yeah, we're going to make sure he can't get back in. Like, the current president's in on it. It's exactly what people are saying it is. It's election interference. It's banana republic stuff. I can't believe it's happening in my lifetime. But now that the Democrats have opened this Pandora's box, it can never go back to the way it was. I don't see it ever going back to being civil and doing the right thing for doing the right thing. I think it's going to get more and more partisan. It's almost, it seems like the Democrats just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and going, what, what,
Yeah,
what,
what are you going to do about it?
what
Yeah.
are you do about it?
Hmm.
What,
Well,
and
payback's a bitch.
payback is a bitch. And Marco Rubio said this. Some other pretty smart Republicans have said, we will get back in the White House. A Republican will be sitting in the White House again soon. And when that happens, it's Armageddon for the left.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
asked for it, like, this is what you want. Okay. When we have our turn, I guess we'll do it too. But why has it come to this? And people say, well, it's just that it's Trump. That's not true, because he represents millions, tens of millions of Americans. He's not acting alone here. So it it really is separating us. I think forever. How do we recover from this? Who could step forward? A political person, a celebrity, an athlete? What kind of person could come forward right now and bridge this gap? I don't think it's possible.
Well,
I really don't, unfortunately.
Well, the good news is that you're starting to see people, even those who aren't necessarily celebrities. I mean, Christ, just the unions in New York now are
Yep.
backing Trump because there's a lot of people that are waking up to this, and
Right.
you're also seeing people like The Rock, who's like, I can't support Biden. There's people like Stephen A. Smith, who's not gonna probably won't be supporting Trump, but is still, he's starting to come around and call the Dems, on the left on their bullshit. They seem to be eating themselves, especially now with the whole, all the disruptions that are going on college campuses right now. So
Yep.
and that always kind of happens. Now, when you mention who can we get back into power, obviously, the power cycles, they are cyclical, and there will be a
Cyclical.
Republican
That's the
back
right
in
word.
there.
Thank you.
You're
It's
welcome.
circular.
It's a $20 word there.
It's a great
I
word.
went on thesaurus.com before we started. Um, but yeah, so I think the question is, though, not when will there be another Republican in power. It's who is that Republican going to be, because obviously, as we've seen, it's not at this point. The whole system has been exposed. It's not just a matter of left versus right.
Nope.
It's the uniparty, and I think that's what has the current administration and the powers that be, and even a fair amount of the rhinos kind of shitting in their pants, is because
Yeah,
Trump is exposing all of it, and
it is.
it's not you know really subject to one side or the other. So it's not just a matter of getting the right in power; it's about getting the right in power.
I couldn't agree with you more. I guess what I was saying, and I agree with what you just said, but what I was saying is that culturally, unfortunately, like at maybe 15 years ago, Oprah could have stepped forward, but she's
Mm,
proven herself to be completely on the left. I mean, she backed Stacey Abrams, even when Stacey Abrams was saying complete nonsense, denied her election defeat. Um, I, anyway, Stacey Abrams is not a very smart person.
mm,
If you listen to her talk, it's
yeah,
nuts.
I
So
try not to.
right. So I mean, like Bill Gates, lunatic.
Mhm,
Like it's. Well, I guess if Robin Williams was still around, maybe that's a guy that could like you know what? Everyone's fucking crazy. Okay, we're all nuts. Let's just laugh about it and come on. We live in the same country. Let's just not hate each other. I don't know who that voice is anymore, man. I don't think that voice exists. And I'm talking above politics. And it's ironic because for Trump, for 2 generations, he was kind of above. He wasn't political, but he was this cultural icon. He was this larger than life business guy. Whatever you thought of him, you just knew his name. And he's a brand. Unfortunately, I think it will take someone of that kind of celebrity to do this. But unfortunately, in the last 3 years, every celebrity's picked a side, and most of them have picked the wrong side.
mhm,
But there's no Walter Cronkites.
mhm.
There's no. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say?
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
know who can come forward and go, okay, I'm like the Pope. I mean, the Pope is crazy, right? Weird. Not even I don't want to go there, but I mean, I I was raised Catholic. Don't recognize the Catholic Church anymore.
Mhm,
I really
mhm,
don't. Their attendance is terrible. I'm surprised they still have a business, but they do. So some people still give them money and believe in them. But I mean, the church has definitely lost its role in normal everyday society.
mhm,
So
mhm.
the family structure isn't great. Birth rates are way down. So the government has sort of stepped in as this quasi parental place to bring people together, and now that's fallen apart.
Oh, that's the most divisive entity on in the world right now, and I
Right.
think
But
that
but but there
speaks.
used to be a church community.
Sure.
There used to be other communities locally that people would go, well, whatever's going on, we're all gonna go to the park on Sunday and watch the kids play soccer or whatever. That's not really the same anymore either. So
Mm-mm.
I don't know what's the unifying fact. What's the under this is what Jordan Peterson's been talking about for 6 years now. He's
Mhm.
like the very thing that undergirds our culture, religion, has been wiped away. So what is it now? Consumerism.
Well,
I
and
have more
and
stuff than you do. I mean, I don't know. Like, what? So this is getting beyond politics, moving into kind of philosophy. But like, what are you really living for? And that's
yeah,
and that's your own decision to make. But we used to be, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I used to know what it meant to be an American. I don't anymore. I don't know what that means.
I guess it just comes down to like the founding principles of freedom, and
I couldn't agree more.
that
I know what it
that
means to
does.
me, but we used to have shared values.
Yeah.
Like I pledge allegiance to the flag. Now that's schools are like, oh, that's racist. You know, there's a separate black national anthem at football games. It's like this is only making everything worse. So I don't see again. I'm not man. I'm not here to be negative. I'm here to be positive. I want to get Trump reelected. I'm a conservative. I want to see this country. I want to make America great again. But I think we have some house cleaning to do, and I don't know who's going to do it. And it's affecting our own party. There's some infighting on our side. There's a lot of infighting
Hmm.
on the other side. I mean,
Hmm.
don't forget AOC caucused with Bernie Sanders. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
respect AOC at all, but
Hmm.
just showing you that she thought he made more sense than Hillary.
Yeah,
I
absolutely. And
mean,
if you want to talk about,
and Biden. So
yeah,
that party's not as unified as the mainstream media wants you to think it is.
yeah, and they
You
are
know,
dangerously fighting with each other now. I mean, just look at what's happening on college campuses. I mean, that's a lot of left eating the other left, you know?
it
So,
certainly is. And what's and this is if we can transition a little bit. I think what's really happening is academia has been taken over by the far left for the last I mean, since for the last 40 years. There's no conservative voices
oh,
in
longer,
college
probably since the 60s. Yeah,
since the
absolutely.
60s. So that's a
Hmm.
long time. So generations of people have now gone through the system thinking being white is evil, erasing history is the right thing to do. I mean, on and on and on and on and on. So they think that without knowing the real history, they think that Israel is the aggressor. If you study history for 10 minutes, you understand that's not the case at all. And that not even since 1948, go back 4,000 years.
Hmm.
Pick the continent, pick the country. They've been thrown out of it. Or worse, or executed, rounded up, put in ghettos and killed. The
Hmm.
Holocaust wasn't the first time that happened, guys, by the way.
Hmm.
It's been happening to the Jews for millennia. So how do you know what I mean? It's like, but you can hop on your phone and distract yourself for 3 hours and then go to sleep. I
Hmm.
don't know how we Obama. There was a moment where I thought Obama might be. He was such a good speaker, such an impressive statesperson.
Hmm.
The way he carried himself publicly when he spoke. Bill Clinton had the same mojo. He did
Hmm.
until we realized, oh, he's a pig.
Sure,
You know what I mean? As a
sure,
person,
sure.
as a politician, pretty damn suave. He actually worked with the right. They actually worked together on things. Now, this is in the 90s. That doesn't happen anymore. I don't think it'll happen again anytime soon. But Obama turned out to be just a far left shill, too.
Yeah. Well, as did a lot of the people on the right as well, which is why the Uniparty exists. I think when it just like societally, I think it does come down to, you know, good times make weak people, right? And I think
Right.
we've had it so good for so long, and that's why you're seeing a lot of, what you're seeing on college campuses. I think Charlie Kirk had a great line after one of these kids, was just kind of berating him and had no facts, and he said, all rage but no wisdom. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
And
saw
and
that.
it's and that's so indicative. That kind of sums up, that whole philosophy. You can throw logic and facts and evidence, and it's just it doesn't matter because it's just not how they feel, and there's a certain amount of it comes down to they just have to grow up and experience life a little bit.
Right.
But I think kind of getting it back to where a lot of the division comes from,
Uh-huh.
this kind of underscores the need to be that much more united, because as we're sitting here watching the left fracture itself and eat its own, then there's never been more of a reason for us to unite the right. And I know that there's a lot of suspicion and there's a lot of distrust, mainly because of the uniparty. I mean, look, there was a lot of disappointment just recently. I know we're trying not to stay too topical, but there's been, a lot of disappointment over Mike Johnson because, a lot of people on the right feel as though he caved, too
Yep.
easily.
Yep.
And I certainly, have my opinions about that as well. I tend to agree with that. But
Yeah,
so it's even gotten to the point where what used to pass as just simple bipartisanship is now considered surrendering and kowtowing because everything is so fractured
I
at the
agree.
moment. So what do you do to, say nothing of healing the divide between right and left? What can we do to kind of heal the what seems to be an emerging divide just within the right? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, at this point, if you are, I mean, Chris Christie's an example of this. He's just a bitter loser at this point. But
A bitter
what,
uniparty, Rhino.
yeah.
Hmm.
So what the answer is, whether you like it or not, get behind Trump. Trump's created a relationship. He's created a movement. He is a one man, 75 million plus voters movement, gaining more momentum by the day, by the felony charges, by the nothing can stop this guy except himself and his health. And may God keep him healthy and safe. But he he's the answer right now. He can't be the answer forever, and he will be a lame duck. So we get him in. He's got 4 years to get things back on track. During that time, I hope his administration uses it to foster the next generation of people who brings Americans back together.
Mm-hmm.
We can
Yeah.
all agree, even if you like Joe Biden, sit through one of his four State of the Nation speeches and go, this is really negative and screamy and shitty,
Mm-hmm.
and this is terrible. Like,
Divisive. Yeah.
yeah, I mean the first lines are always the State of the Nation is great, and then he spends the next 40 minutes shitting on everybody. It's like, you're the president, man. And you've been doing this for half a century. Shouldn't you be the best at this? I mean, it always amazes me how this stuff, what osmosis is,
Yeah.
how osmosis doesn't work in humans, like, so Hillary Clinton stood next to Bill for 40 years and listened to him give blow you off your feet, blow you out of the room speeches. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go on YouTube and watch Bill Clinton talking from the late 80s, early 90s. Very, very. I mean, he was a Rhodes Scholar for a reason, and despite his personal failings, he's a very, very smart guy, and he's a
Mm-hmm.
fantastic politician. I don't agree with most of what he's done, or his personal life at all, but the guy can talk he's a silver tongue. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Absolutely.
He can really move an audience. She sat there more than any other human on the planet and heard him do that hundreds of times. And then when she got her chance, or it's her time to run for president, well, Trump's orange. Didn't any of that brilliance? Like, the answer is no. We are who we are. We're individuals. So again, to answer your question, we have to go back to Trump, because Trump has his own way of bringing people together. As weird as it looks to people that don't like him,
Mm-hmm.
it resonates with tens and tens and tens of millions of people who the left has said, "Oh, fungal to you."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that it's quite ironic that it would be, we would think that hopefully it would be somebody like Trump to bring the nation together, whether that's just on the right or, the right and the left, and bring everybody together, when, the other side is the first people that'll say he's the most divisive president, we've ever
Uh-huh.
had,
Uh-huh.
without looking at the facts of,
Or and
of
and
his.
and, and the person saying that is he himself or herself being divisive.
Absolutely.
By saying it over. What did Goebbels say? What was Goebbels' great message back when he was trying to make Hitler a star? If you repeat a lie again and again, people start to think it's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know what I'm saying? A buddy of mine, when we were in Iraq, this is back when we had invaded Iraq, and for whatever reason we did. Um, he's like, how you tell the country you're winning a war? I said, how? He goes, tell them you're winning.
Hmm.
That's it. Just say we're
Mission
winning.
accomplished.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
winning. You notice how there's never any footage of anything going on in Ukraine? February of 2022, heading toward $1 trillion in aid. Do we ever see any battles or any idea of what's happening strategically? I mean, Zelensky has lots of time to hang out with celebrities in
Hmm.
palaces. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
you know what's really true?
It's like the movie Wag the Dog. It's
Yeah,
exactly, yeah, it's like what
and
that is,
and,
which
and
is,
a fantastic film that should have been more acclaimed than it was.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and again, that which is more of the reason why, that's why I think not only do the powers that be care, or they actually enjoy the fact that the right and the left are fighting amongst themselves, let them kill each other. That's
Yeah,
fine, because we're all united in just being the big uniparty that we are.
yeah,
And it's even better when they're fighting amongst themselves, when the left is fighting amongst them, the right's fighting, then everybody's just hating and win. So we can just kind of walk away and do whatever the hell we want, and kind of operate even more in the shadows than we've been doing. So that's why I think it's never been more important to unite the right. And that, look, as we said a couple of episodes ago, or I think it might have even been the last one, where we said, look, the left seems to move in lockstep for the most part.
right.
The
They
right
vote in
is,
lockstep.
Yeah, they certainly vote in lockstep, and you could make the argument that the right does as well. But the right is made up of independent thinkers. That was the biggest problem with what I thought was the biggest problem with the Libertarian Party. It was all made up of a bunch of kind of independently minded thinkers that they couldn't
Yeah.
really settle on a proper platform. They're still kind of arguing amongst themselves. And
They were more against things than for things. It's like,
yes,
okay, we know what you're against, but what are you actually for? You're like,
yeah, yeah,
is it
and that's
Tuesday
happening.
today?
Exactly. And that's happening more and more on the right as well, because
Yeah.
a lot of those people, the libertarians, certainly like myself, because I was more libertarian minded, the Ron Paul,
Yep.
movement back in 2012. So for anybody who's watching, I've been in the fucking game since then. So I don't want to hear the bullshit. Anyway, so, so anyways, I hope you stick around long enough to hear me say that, goddamn. Anyway, so you're getting a lot of those people who are kind of a little, we're not necessarily cut from the traditional, Nixonian, Reagan
Yep.
conservative. You know what I mean?
Sure.
This is why I always say that the right has a branding and an image problem, because it's not what has been, portrayed over the last several decades. I mean, there's a whole new crop of younger. I mean, I'm not, young. We're not young, but
No,
but
no,
we're not
but
boomers, and we're not 80 years old anymore,
let
either,
me ask
like
you
those
this
people.
question. If Trump didn't beat Hillary in 2016, how many wars have we been in? How many wars have we already been in?
Oh, as many as we are now. We just would have been in them since then.
Exactly.
Or more.
And this is Hillary Clinton. The Clintons are a formidable force in politics, the federal level, and have been for a long time. The
Hmm.
fact that he beat her really threw off the Uniparty's plan for the future. It really put it on
Which is
hold.
why they're coming after him with everything they got right now.
I understand that. So, and the unfortunate thing about this conversation, Jeff, is that when you say the word uniparty, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But the average American goes, "What is that?" They don't. So, most people in the know, shame on them for not. I guess my answer is this, and you've been saying this again. Back to your question about how do we how do we unite the right? This close to the election year, Trump's fighting for his freedom, literally gag orders. All the more reason for us to kind of do what the Democrats are doing right now and lying out loud about Joe Biden. You notice how they're
Mm.
all going, he's the sharpest tack in the shed. So great economy, is killing it. Just lie. I know it sounds like being a used car salesman, in public, but I mean, Trump had a great run. Trump was a great president. Talk
Hmm.
about that. Just talk about what he did and what he could do again, given the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
put your personal feelings aside, your personal whatever you have going on in your own life, whatever your feelings are about the guy personally, and realize that out of nowhere, with no political experience, never been a mayor, never been a city councilman, he became the president. Okay. And what did he do when he was in office? He did exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
People
And
go, "Oh, Mexico didn't pay for the wall, but we got a wall."
hmm we
Okay, I
stayed out
mean,
of
on
wars.
and on and on and on and
Yeah.
on and on and on.
You brokered
So
the Abraham Accords the first
yeah,
time there was ever.
exactly.
I
The
mean,
Abraham Accords, which made the Middle East quiet, at least. At least it started to chip away at this centuries old hate and
mhm.
bitterness and like wipe you off the planet thinking, like, you know what?
That used to
We're
be
here.
Nobel Prize worthy. Now, I mean, Obama got one for doing literally nothing.
But that's also the thing. Like, it's even more important for us to be unified because it's such an uphill battle. And this legal thing they're doing with Trump is just this is going to go through the election. Even if he gets elected, how's that going to work?
Well, that's my other question is, what happens, because everybody seems to be kind of preparing. I think as it continues on, unless, something really terrible happens to Trump, God
Which the
forbid.
left's planning as we speak. I can
Of
guarantee
course
you,
they are.
they're
Of course
planning
they are.
something.
But they also seem to be kind of sort of, at least there's some resignation among some of the louder voices on the mainstream left, at least, that it's not looking good. I mean, because they're starting to call Joe out on stuff. The age
Yep,
thing is becoming more and more common.
yep,
The left is fighting amongst themselves, as we were saying
yep.
earlier. So I think they're kind of spiritually, at least, beginning to think, oh shit, this guy could actually, lose, and then the other guy could actually get in again. So
Right.
they're even starting to make inroads, even when it comes to policy. Well, we're going to make sure that we tie up, the Ukraine situation, or in such a way where he can't really do anything. I mean, they're going to try to do all manner of things, but and depending on who you're asking, there's a bigger operation happening, whether that's on the left or the right, depending on what side you're on. But anyway, I'm rambling at this point, but because you can go down a lot of these roads. But
Yeah,
I think that's one of the reasons why we mentioned the uniparty. People are beginning to wake up, both in the pundits and the political class is starting to realize that, oh shit, this could really kind of topple, which is I think why they're doubling down, because they know that should Trump get in, because the people are behind him, if there's
they
enough
sure
of
are.
that, they're kind of shitting their pants because they know, again, payback is a bitch and retribution is going to come now. And they're even running on that. He says he's going to jail his opponents if he wins. Well, what do you think they're trying to do right now?
Exactly.
So it's like it's always a matter of whatever they're accusing you of is what they're doing themselves.
100%.
The hypocrisy is staggering, and I think that's, if nothing else, that's the thing that all of us on the right can get behind is,
Yeah.
come on. I mean,
Yeah.
if we can't agree on the style in which our party or our side should govern, or what policies, we can debate that amongst ourselves. But at the end of the day, there's an election that needs to be won. And I think calling out the hypocrisy and the bullshit can be at least one of the major unifying points, to at least on our side.
Sure. I agree. I agree. Is that a good place to end the segment?
That might be a good place, because I kind of went off, and I apologize. I usually
No,
give you a
you're
lot more
passionate about
airtime.
this, and you're passionate about this, and so am I. I do think the solution is, and the only solution is, only Trump can win. Only Trump can win. And the Democrats are scared to death of that happening, and they're doing everything they can in their power, and they have a lot of power to
Mm-hmm.
stop him. So the only thing Trump's got going for him is us.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to get together, put aside our differences, personal and political, and vote for Trump. Speak for Trump on the socials with your friends. Again, always in a spirit of harmony, never confrontational. We on this show would never ever suggest violence in any way, never. So, but like it's okay to talk about stuff until you can't talk about it anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to let people know I'm voting for Trump. We have a chance to compare two presidencies. I know that Biden is a disaster. He's destroying the middle class day by day. And all he ever talks about is, like you said, setting it up so there's $1 trillion for Ukraine. I mean, what about us, man? What about Americans, man? Now how
Mm-hmm.
he talks, always says, man, you know what I mean?
Come
He's a
on,
man of the
man.
people. What about the people that are paying your salary, the
Mm-hmm.
taxpayers? What about us? No one wants this stuff going on. No one wants to pay $10 for a box of cereal or $5 for a gallon of gas. 7.1 mortgage rates? Are you kidding me? That's affecting real people, the people that you serve, sir. Come on. Enough already. How about America First from the Democrats? It's enough
Exactly.
already. So all
Amen.
those things are reason to get behind Trump, because we know he's proven when he was campaigning, and then when he got the gig, he did it. He put America first.
And that's all we're asking, folks. All right. So, with that, we do appreciate anybody who has tuned in, subscribe. Be sure to do so, like, subscribe, follow, all that crazy stuff
Yep.
at the website patriotsonlyplease.com. Again, we are just kind of getting our sea legs. This is our first remote episode. We'll
Yeah.
hopefully improve some of the remoteness of it, and we can do these from phones. We can do these, we can bring in other people. We can start doing, do this in exotic locales if we want. I
Woo.
mean, if it's going to be, it can get pretty crazy. So, anyway, thank you so much, anybody who bothers to invite us into their day. And if you have any questions, you can certainly get a hold of us through our website. And we would love,
Yep.
or any of our socials, in, again, the interest to unite the right. So, we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.